I returned home from the hospital and found my wife without food or water, dying alone on the kitchen floor. The cab dropped me off at the curb. 3 days in that sterile white room, hooked to machines, breathing recycled air. Pneumonia, they said. At 68, it hits harder. But I survived. I always do. The front door was unlocked. That should have been my first warning. "Diana," I called out, stepping inside. Silence. The house felt wrong. Too quiet. Too still. The afternoon light filtered through the blinds, casting thin lines across the hallway. I set my overnight bag down and moved toward the kitchen, my legs still weak from the hospital stay. That's when I saw her. Diana was on the floor beside the kitchen table, her arm stretched toward the phone that lay just out of reach. Her lips were cracked and pale. Her eyes were half closed. She wasn't moving. Jesus Christ. I dropped to my knees beside her, ignoring the sharp pain in my chest. "Diana. Diana, can you hear me?" Her eyelids fluttered. A whisper escaped her lips. "Water." I grabbed a glass from the counter, filled it from the tap, and held it to her mouth. She drank like someone who'd been lost in the desert. When the glass was empty, she looked at me with those gray eyes that had seen 43 years of my life. "How long?" I asked. 2 days, she whispered. Maybe 3. I lost track. 2 days. Maybe 3. My wife, a woman who taught Shakespeare to ungrateful teenagers for 30 years, who raised our son with patience I never had, who stood by me through business failures and hard times, had been lying on this floor for 3 days while I fought for breath in a hospital bed. "Where's Tyler?" I asked, though I already knew the answer would make me want to break something. Diana's eyes filled with tears. "He left. 4 days ago. Said he needed a break. Him and Brittany." "A break," I repeated flatly. "Spain?" she said. "Barcelona." Before we go any further, take a second to subscribe, hit the hype button and like the video. It really helps the channel grow. And tell us in the comments, what would you do in this situation? I helped her into a chair and made her drink more water. Then, I made her eat crackers, slowly, while I called her doctor. Her vitals were stable enough, the doctor said over the phone, but she needed monitoring. Dehydration at 66 was serious. I should bring her in if she showed any signs of confusion or weakness. Signs of confusion or weakness. My wife had been abandoned on the floor of her own home by her only child, while his father fought pneumonia in the ICU. I was already feeling something darker than anger. Something colder. After I got Diana settled on the couch with a blanket and more water, I went looking for my phone. Found it in my bag. 73 missed calls, 60 from Diana in the first 2 days. Then they stopped. I opened Facebook. Tyler's latest post was from yesterday morning. A photo of him and Brittany on some beach, drinks in hand, huge smiles plastered across their tanned faces. The caption read, "Finally, 1 week without the pathetic old folks, living our best lives." I read it 3 times. The pathetic old folks. 34 years old, and this was what my son had become. A man who left his mother to suffer alone so he could share vacation photos and ridicule his parents online. I showed Diana the phone. She stared at the screen for a long time. Then she looked at me with an expression I'd never seen before. It wasn't sadness. It wasn't even anger. It was something far more dangerous. "Ed," she said quietly, "I want you to destroy him." "What?" "You heard me." Her voice was steady now, stronger. "I want you to make him pay for this. Not just a lecture, not just disappointment. I want him to feel what we felt. I want him to understand what he did." I sat down beside her. "Diana, you're talking about our son." "No," she said. "I'm talking about a stranger who abandoned his mother. Our son was gone a long time ago, Ed. We just refused to see it." She was right. I'd known it for years but refused to admit it. Tyler had always been self-centered, even as a kid, but somewhere in his 20s, that selfishness had calcified into something uglier. The business ventures that always needed our money. The promises that never materialized. The girlfriend-turned-wife who treated us like embarrassing relics. And now this. I pulled out my phone and made one call. "Frank," I said when he picked up. "It's Ed Lasker. I need your help with something." Frank Doherty had been my friend for 40 years. We'd worked together back when I was running my electrical contracting business. He'd gone into private investigation after retiring from the police force. He owed me a favor from years back, when I'd helped him wire his house off the books. "What's going on, Ed?" he asked. I told him everything. The hospital, Diana on the floor, the Facebook post. When I finished, there was a long silence on the other end. "That little menace," Frank finally said. "What do you need?" "Everything you can find on Tyler and Brittany. Bank records, business dealings, social media, everything. And I need it fast." "Give me 24 hours. "I'll give you 12. I hung up and looked at Diana. She was watching me with something like hope in her eyes. "What are you going to do?" she asked. "I don't know yet," I said. "But I'm done being the understanding father. I'm done making excuses. I'm done pretending he's going to change." Diana reached out and took my hand. Her grip was weak but determined. "Good," she said, "because I'm done too." Frank showed up at my door 90 minutes later with a laptop under his arm and a grim expression on his face. "That was fast," I said, letting him in. I started pulling strings as soon as we hung up. He set the laptop on the kitchen table and opened it. "You're not going to like what I found." Diana joined us at the table, looking stronger after food and rest. Frank glanced at her, then at me. "You sure you want her to hear this?" he asked. "I want to hear it," Diana said firmly. Frank nodded and turned the screen toward us. "Okay, let's start with the basics. Your son and his wife have been living well beyond their means for the past 3 years. Their combined income from social media influencing and Tyler's various entrepreneurial ventures is roughly $80,000 a year. Not bad, but not enough for their lifestyle." He clicked through several screenshots. Luxury cars, designer clothes, expensive restaurants, European vacations. Their credit card debt is over $40,000. They've maxed out 3 cards and are making minimum payments on all of them. The house they're renting is $2,200 a month, which they're consistently late on. The landlord has filed 2 late payment notices in the past 6 months. "Jesus," I muttered. "It gets better," Frank continued. "Tyler borrowed $15,000 from your joint savings account 8 months ago. Remember that?" I did. He'd said it was for a business opportunity, a sure thing. He'd pay us back in 3 months. "He spent it on a sports car," Frank said flatly. "Sold it 2 months later at a loss to cover his rent." Diana's hand tightened on mine. "There's more," Frank said. "Tyler and Brittany have been running a small-scale scam through their social media accounts. They promote diet supplements and fitness programs that they claim to use themselves. They don't. The companies pay them through affiliate marketing, but the products are worthless. Several customers have filed complaints with the FTC. He showed us screenshots of angry comments, negative reviews, threats of legal action. They're one lawsuit away from being completely broke, Frank concluded, and their social media following is starting to decline. People are catching on. I sat back in my chair, processing it all. My son wasn't just selfish, he was a fraud, a con artist, a man who would steal from his own parents and lie to thousands of strangers for a quick buck. "What about this trip to Spain?" I asked. Frank clicked to another tab. "Paid for with a credit card that's already maxed out. They booked it 3 weeks ago, right after you told Tyler you were going into the hospital for pneumonia. They knew you'd be out of commission. They knew Diana would be alone." "They left her here to fade away," Diana said quietly. "They didn't care enough to check," Frank said, which is basically the same thing. I looked at the screen, at the evidence of my son's betrayal laid out in spreadsheets and screenshots and bank statements. I felt something shift inside me, something fundamental. The man who had raised Tyler, who had tried to teach him right from wrong, who had made excuses for him time and time again, that man was gone. "What can we do legally?" I asked Frank. "Legally? Not much," he admitted. "You gave him access to your savings account. That makes the theft harder to prove. The FTC complaints against him are civil matters, not criminal. The debt is his problem, not yours. As for abandoning Diana, that's morally reprehensible but not technically illegal since you're not legally dependent on him for care." "So we have nothing," Diana said. "I didn't say that." Frank leaned forward. "You can't put him in jail, but you can destroy his life. His reputation, his income, his future. All of it depends on his social media presence and his image as a successful entrepreneur. Take that away, and he's got nothing." "How?" I asked. Frank smiled. It wasn't a pleasant smile. "You expose him. Every lie, every scam, every piece of debt. You make it all public. His followers, his sponsors, his landlord, his creditors, everyone. You burn down the house of cards he's built, and you do it while he's on vacation feeling untouchable." I thought about it. Tyler had always been obsessed with his image. In high school, it was the clothes and the car. In college, it was the fraternity and the parties. Now it was the followers and the lifestyle brand. Everything he'd built was a facade. "That's a start," I said, "but it's not enough." Frank raised an eyebrow. "What else do you want?" "I want him to feel helpless," I said. "The way Diana felt when she was lying on that floor. The way I felt when I came home and found her. I want him to understand what it's like to have everything taken away while the people who are supposed to care about you mock you from a distance." Diana squeezed my hand. "Yes." Frank studied me for a moment. "You're talking about more than just social media exposure." "I'm talking about total destruction," I said calmly. "I'm talking about making sure that when he comes back from Spain, he has nothing left. No money, no reputation, no future. And I want him to know it was me." "Ed," Frank said carefully, "what you're describing could cross some lines." "I don't care about lines anymore," I said. "My son abandoned his mother so he could party in Barcelona. He stole from us. He lied to us. He mocked us online. The lines don't matter anymore." Frank looked at Diana. "You're okay with this?" "I'm more than okay with it," she said. "I encouraged it. Ed has spent his whole life trying to do the right thing, trying to be a good father, trying to give Tyler chances. I'm done watching him make excuses. I want justice." Frank closed his laptop and stood up. "Okay, I'm in. But we do this smart. We don't do anything that can blow back on you two. Everything we do has to be legal, or at least deniable." "Agreed," I said. "Give me another day," Frank said. "I'll put together a complete dossier, everything we need to take Tyler down. Then we'll make a plan." After Frank left, Diana and I sat in silence for a long time. The house felt different now, not like a home, like a war room. "Are you sure about this?" I asked her. "I've never been more sure of anything," she said. "Tyler made his choice. Now we make ours." I looked at my wife, at the determination in her eyes, and I realized something important. This wasn't just about revenge. This was about justice. This was about teaching my son a lesson he should have learned a long time ago. Actions have consequences. I pulled out my phone and started typing a message to Tyler. Then I stopped. No, not yet. When I confronted him, I wanted him to be here. I wanted to see his face. "When does he get back from Spain?" I asked Diana. She checked his Facebook page. 5 more days. 5 days, I repeated. That gives us time to prepare. Diana smiled. It was a cold smile, nothing like the warm expression I'd known for 43 years. Good. Let's make sure he comes home to a nightmare. I stood up and walked to the window, looking out at the quiet street. My neighbors were going about their evening routines, watering lawns, walking dogs, living normal lives. My life stopped being normal the moment I found Diana on that floor. I turned back to her. "I'm done being your father, Tyler," I said quietly, practicing the words. From now on, I'm the storm. Frank came back the next morning with a thick folder and a plan. I spent all night on this, he said, spreading documents across the kitchen table. Bank statements, emails, text messages, social media posts, everything. Your boy is sloppy, Ed. He doesn't cover his tracks. I picked up one of the documents. It was an email from Tyler to a supplement company, promising to promote their product to his followers in exchange for $2,000. The email included phrases like, "My audience trusts me," and "guaranteed engagement." This is fraud, I said. Borderline, Frank corrected. He's not explicitly lying, just heavily implying he uses products he doesn't. But combined with everything else, it paints a clear picture. Diana was reading through another document, a series of text messages between Tyler and Brittany. Her expression darkened with each line. Listen to this, she said. Tyler texted Brittany the day before they left for Spain. Mom called again, just ignore it. Dad's in the hospital. She'll be fine for a week. We deserve this break. She set the phone down carefully, like it might explode. He knew you were in the hospital, she continued, her voice shaking with controlled rage. He knew I was alone, and he decided we deserved to be abandoned. Frank pulled out another set of papers. Here's the financial breakdown. They owe money to everyone. Credit cards, personal loans, even borrowed from Brittany's parents. The Spain trip put them another $4,000 in debt. When they get back, they'll have about $300 in their checking account and $17,000 in credit card bills due within 30 days. They're drowning, I said. They're already underwater, Frank corrected. They just don't know it yet. But they survive on their social media income. Cut that off, and they have nothing. He opened his laptop and showed us a breakdown of Tyler's social media presence. 80,000 followers on Instagram, 50,000 on TikTok. His posts averaged about 5,000 likes each. Sponsors paid him between $500 and $3,000 per post, depending on the product. It's all built on perception, Frank explained. People follow him because they think he's successful. They buy what he's selling because they want his lifestyle. But if that perception changes, if people realize he's a fraud, the whole thing collapses. How do we change that perception? Diana asked. Frank smiled. We tell the truth, all of it. We create a document that lays out everything, the debt, the scams, the stolen money, the abandonment. We make it simple, factual, and impossible to ignore. Then we distribute it. To who? I asked. Everyone who matters, Frank said. His followers, his sponsors, the supplement companies paying him, the credit card companies he owes money to, his landlord, his neighbors. We make it go viral. I thought about it. That would destroy his income stream. Completely, Frank agreed. Within 48 hours, every sponsor would drop him. His followers would abandon him. His reputation would be toast. But it's not illegal? Diana asked. It's all true, Frank said. Truth is an absolute defense against defamation. As long as we stick to facts and have documentation, he can't touch us legally. I looked at the documents spread across the table. Everything we needed was right here. Bank statements showing the stolen money, screenshots of the scam promotions, text messages showing the deliberate abandonment. It was all documented, all provable. Do it, I said. Frank nodded. I'll put together the document tonight. Clean, professional, fact-based. We'll launch it the day before he gets back from Spain. That way, he's hit with it as soon as he lands. No, I said. We launch it while he's still in Spain. I want him to watch his life fall apart from a distance. I want him to feel helpless. Frank grinned. Even better. Over the next 2 days, Frank and I worked on the plan while Diana recovered her strength. We compiled everything into a single PDF document titled The Truth About Tyler Lasker. It was 10 pages long, meticulously sourced, and devastating. Page 1 outlined the financial fraud, the stolen savings, the unpaid debts, the maxed-out credit cards. Page 2 detailed the social media scams, The promoted products he never used, the false testimonials, the FTC complaints. Page 3 was the most damaging. It showed the text messages between Tyler and Brittany, including the one where he dismissed his mother's calls while his father was in the ICU. It included screenshots of his Facebook post mocking us. It included a photo of Diana's medical report from when I finally got her to the doctor, showing severe dehydration. The remaining pages were supporting documentation, bank statements, credit reports, screenshots of negative customer reviews. Everything was redacted to protect privacy where necessary, but the evidence was clear and overwhelming. "This is perfect," I said, reviewing the final version. "It's a nuclear bomb," Frank said. "Once this goes out, there's no coming back from it." "Good," Diana said from the doorway. She'd been resting, but she looked stronger now, focused. "When do we launch?" I checked Tyler's Facebook page. He'd posted another vacation photo an hour ago. He was on a boat, champagne in hand, grinning at the camera. The caption read, "Living the dream. Some of us work hard, some of us complain. Choose wisely." I showed the post to Diana. Her jaw tightened. "Tomorrow," I said. "We launch tomorrow. Let him enjoy one more day of his perfect life." That evening, Frank helped me set up anonymous email accounts and social media profiles. We created a simple website hosting the PDF document. We compiled a list of email addresses, Tyler's sponsors, his followers who had listed contact information, his landlord, the credit card companies, even the local news outlets. "Once we hit send, this is out of your hands," Frank warned. "It's going to spread fast. There's no way to control it." "I don't want to control it," I said. "I want it to burn." Diana came up behind me and put her hand on my shoulder. "Do it." I clicked send. The emails went out in waves, hundreds of them, thousands. The website went live. Within an hour, we started seeing results. People were opening the document, they were reading it, they were sharing it. Tyler's Instagram comments section began filling up with angry messages. "Scammer. Fraud. How dare you?" People were tagging him, demanding explanations. His follower count started dropping. I refreshed the page every few minutes, watching the numbers fall. 80,000 followers became 79,000, then 78,000, then 76,000. "It's working," Frank said, watching over my shoulder. My phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. "Mr. Lasker?" A professional voice. "This is Jennifer Torres from Apex Nutrition. We received a concerning document about Tyler Lasker today. Can you confirm the information is accurate?" "Every word," I said. "Thank you. We'll be terminating our sponsorship immediately." She hung up. 5 minutes later, Tyler's Instagram story showed a new post from Apex Nutrition. "We are severing all ties with Tyler Lasker effective immediately due to ethical concerns." The comments exploded. More companies followed. One by one, his sponsors dropped him publicly. Each announcement brought a new wave of angry followers. By midnight, Tyler had lost 20,000 followers and every major sponsor. His Instagram was a war zone of accusations and anger. His TikTok was worse. Diana and I sat on the couch, watching the destruction unfold on our phones. "He still doesn't know," Diana said. "He hasn't posted anything new." "He's probably asleep," I said. "It's 7 hours ahead in Barcelona. He'll wake up to a nightmare." Sure enough, at 3 a.m. our time, Tyler posted a confused Instagram story. "What the hell is going on? Why are people attacking me?" The response was immediate. Hundreds of comments telling him to read the document, telling him he was finished, telling him they knew the truth now. 10 minutes later, another story. "This is all lies. I'm going to sue whoever did this." The comments laughed at him. "The bank statements don't lie. We saw the messages. You abandoned your mother when she needed you most." I watched Tyler's perfect world crumble in real time, and I felt nothing but cold satisfaction. "He's panicking," Diana observed. "Good," I said. "Let him panic. We're just getting started." Tyler tried to fight back, but every move he made dug him deeper. He posted a video at 4 a.m. Barcelona time, clearly drunk, trying to explain. "Listen, everyone, there's been a huge misunderstanding. Someone hacked my accounts and is spreading lies about me. I'm a victim here." The comments tore him apart. People posted screenshots proving the information came from legitimate sources. Others pointed out that even if he'd been hacked, the bank statements and legal documents were real. Brittany posted her own response an hour later, a tearful video claiming they were being targeted by haters, and that none of it was true. She disabled comments within minutes, but the damage was done. People screen-recorded the video and reposted it across multiple platforms, adding mocking commentary. By morning Barcelona time, Tyler and Brittany's social media accounts were completely destroyed. They'd lost over 30,000 followers each. Their comment sections were graveyards of anger and mockery. Every sponsor had dropped them. Their income had evaporated overnight. I received a call from Tyler at 6 a.m. I let it go to voicemail. He called 6 more times. I ignored them all. Finally, a text message. "Dad, please call me. Something terrible is happening." I showed it to Diana. "Don't respond," she said. "Not yet. Let him suffer." Around noon, Tyler's landlord called me. We'd met once, 2 years ago. He was a reasonable man named Paul Brenner. "Mr. Lasker," he said, "I received a disturbing document yesterday about your son. I wanted to verify some information before taking action." "What do you need to know?" I asked. "The document claims Tyler has been consistently late on rent and is currently 2 months behind. It also claims he forged your signature on a document stating you would cover his rent if he defaulted. Is this true?" A chill ran through me. "He did what?" "He gave me a notarized letter 6 months ago claiming you agreed to be his guarantor. The notary stamp looked legitimate, so I accepted it." "I never signed any such document," I said. "I never agreed to anything." Paul sighed. "That's what I was afraid of. The document I received yesterday included a copy of that letter and claimed it was forged. I checked with the notary. The stamp is real, but the signature doesn't match the one on file for you." "He forged my signature," I said slowly, "and he had it notarized somehow." "Looks that way," Paul said. "I'm sorry, Mr. Lasker, I trusted him. But I'm going to have to start eviction proceedings immediately. I can't have a tenant who forges documents." "I understand," I said. "Do what you need to do." After he hung up, I sat down heavily. Tyler hadn't just abandoned us. He'd committed fraud using my name. If I hadn't exposed him, I might have been held liable for his rent. "How much worse can he be?" Diana asked quietly. "I don't know," I said. "But we're going to find out." Frank came by that afternoon with more news. "The credit card companies are moving fast. 3 of them have already referred Tyler's accounts to collections. With his income gone, he won't be able to make even the minimum payments. His credit score is going to crater." "What about the legal situation?" I asked. "The forged documents?" "That's criminal fraud," Frank said. "Paul could press charges if he wanted to. Tyler could go to jail." "Will he?" Diana asked. Frank shrugged. "Depends on how angry Paul is. But even if he doesn't, the eviction alone is devastating. They'll be out on the street in 30 days, maybe less." I thought about it. Tyler and Brittany would be coming home in 3 days to find their lives completely destroyed. No income, no sponsors, no home, massive debt, a ruined reputation. But it still wasn't enough. "I want to meet him when he gets back," I said. "Ed," Frank said carefully, "you need to be smart about this. No physical confrontation, nothing that could be twisted into assault." "I'm not going to assault him," I said. "I'm just going to talk to him. Let him see my face when he realizes I did this. Let him understand what he lost." Diana nodded. "I'll be there too." Frank looked between us. "This is personal now. You've gone beyond revenge. This is about making him understand." "He's my son," I said. "Or he was. He needs to know what he threw away." Over the next 2 days, we monitored Tyler's social media accounts. He'd stopped posting entirely. The last few posts had been frantic attempts to salvage his reputation, but they'd only made things worse. News outlets had picked up the story. Local media was running pieces about influencer fraud, using Tyler as the example. His follower count bottomed out at 32,000, less than half what he'd started with. The remaining followers seemed to be bots or people who hadn't checked their feeds in weeks. Brittany's accounts fared even worse. She'd lost 60% of her followers. Her brand deals had evaporated. Her last post, a desperate attempt at an apology, had been ratioed so hard that she deleted her entire account. I received another call from Tyler the night before his return flight. This time I answered. "Dad," he said immediately. His voice was desperate, cracking. "Dad, please, you have to help me. Everything is falling apart. Someone is destroying my life." "Someone," I repeated flatly. "I don't know who, but they're spreading lies about me online. They've turned everyone against me. My sponsors dropped me. My landlord is evicting me. I've got nothing left." "Nothing left," I echoed. "Please, Dad, I need your help. I need money to hire a lawyer. I need a place to stay. You need me," I interrupted. "The pathetic old folk. That's what you called me, isn't it?" Silence on the other end. "You abandoned your mother, Tyler. You stole from us. You forged my signature. You mocked us online while we were struggling. And now you're asking for my help?" "Dad, I'm not your father anymore," I said, my voice cold and steady. "From now on, I'm the storm. And when you get home tomorrow, you're going to learn what that means." I hung up. Diana looked at me from across the room. "What happens tomorrow?" "Tomorrow," I said, "we finish this." Tyler's flight landed at 3 p.m. I knew because Frank had tracked his itinerary. By 4 p.m., Tyler and Brittany were in a cab heading to their rental house, unaware that their landlord had already changed the locks. Frank, Diana, and I were waiting in my truck across the street. "There," Frank said, nodding toward the approaching cab. I watched as Tyler and Brittany got out, dragging their luggage up the walk. They looked tired and stressed. Good. That was a start. Tyler tried his key in the front door. It didn't work. He tried again, jiggling the handle. Still nothing. He pulled out his phone and made a call. I could see the confusion on his face turning to anger as someone explained the situation. He hung up and said something to Brittany. She started crying. He kicked the door, then grabbed his luggage and stormed back down the walk. "Where's he going?" Diana asked. "Probably to his car," Frank said. "Let's follow." We watched as Tyler and Brittany loaded their luggage into a white BMW parked on the street. The car was less than a year old, part of Tyler's image as a successful entrepreneur. He probably owed $20,000 on it. He pulled out into traffic. We followed at a distance. "He's heading toward our place," Diana said after a few minutes. "Of course he is," I said. "He's got nowhere else to go." Sure enough, Tyler pulled into our driveway 10 minutes later. Diana and I had driven separately, leaving Frank to follow. By the time we pulled in behind Tyler, he was already out of his car and pounding on the front door. "Dad! Mom! Open up! I know you're in there!" I took my time getting out of the truck. Tyler spun around when he heard me. "Dad!" he said, his face flushed with anger and desperation. "What the hell is going on? My landlord locked me out. My sponsors dropped me. Everyone is attacking me online. Someone is spreading lies about me, and I think it's someone who knows our family." I walked past him and unlocked the front door. Diana followed me inside. Tyler tried to push in behind us, but Frank stepped between us, his considerable bulk blocking the doorway. "Easy," Frank said calmly. "Who the hell are you?" Tyler demanded. "Frank Dougherty," Frank said. "Private investigator, friend of your father's." Tyler's eyes widened. You did this. You're the one who—" "I didn't do anything," Frank interrupted. "I just helped compile the facts. Your father did the rest. Tyler looked at me. Really looked at me. I saw the moment it clicked, the moment he realized I was behind everything. You? He whispered. You destroyed my life? No, I said calmly. You destroyed your own life. I just made sure everyone knew about it. Why? He shouted. What did I ever do to you? The question was so absurd that I actually laughed. It was a harsh, bitter sound. What did you do? I repeated. You abandoned your mother while you were partying in Barcelona. You stole $15,000 from us. You forged my signature to commit fraud. You mocked us online while we suffered. And you have the nerve to ask what you did? Tyler's face went pale. Mom was fine. I was on the floor for 3 days, Diana said quietly from behind me. I couldn't reach the phone. I couldn't reach water. I thought I wouldn't make it out of that kitchen, Tyler. And you knew. You knew your father was in the hospital. You knew I was alone. And you decided a vacation was more important. I didn't, Tyler started, but his voice broke. I didn't think. No, I interrupted. You didn't think. You never think. You just take and take and take. And you expect us to keep giving. Well, we're done giving. We're done being your safety net. We're done being your pathetic old folks. Tyler looked like he'd been slapped. Brittany was crying in the car, her face pressed against the window. What am I supposed to do? Tyler asked, his voice small. I've got nothing. No money, no sponsors, no place to live. I've got nowhere to go. Figure it out, I said. You're 34 years old. You're an entrepreneur, remember? You're living your best life, so go live it. Without us. Dad, please, Tyler said, and for a moment he looked like the little boy who used to call me from nightmares. I'm your son. No, I said. My son would never have done what you did. My son would have checked on his mother. My son would have cared. You're just a stranger wearing his face. I stepped back and started to close the door. Tyler lunged forward, but Frank caught him easily. Don't, Frank said quietly. Just walk away. Tyler stared at me with tears streaming down his face. I'm sorry, he whispered. I'm so sorry. So am I said. I'm sorry it took me this long to see what you really are. I closed the door and locked it. Diana and I stood in the hallway, listening to Tyler sob on the front porch. After a long moment, we heard footsteps retreating, a car door slamming, the sound of an engine starting. Frank knocked gently. I let him in. That was rough, he said. It needed to be, Diana said. I walked to the window and watched Tyler's BMW disappear down the street. I felt hollow, empty, but not guilty. Tyler had made his choices. I'd simply made sure he faced the consequences. What happens now? Frank asked. Now, I said, we move to phase 2. Diana looked at me sharply. There's more? There's always more, I said. Tyler thinks this is over. He thinks he's hit bottom. But he's wrong. We're not done until he understands exactly what he lost. Not just his income or his reputation, but us, his family. The people who would have helped him through anything if he'd just been a decent human being. How do you plan to do that? Frank asked. I pulled out my phone and showed them a screenshot I'd saved. It was from Tyler's Instagram, posted 6 months ago. He was standing in front of a construction site, hard hat on, grinning at the camera. The caption read, "Big things coming, new development project in the works, going to change everything." What is this? Diana asked. Tyler's latest scheme, I said. He convinced a small-time developer named Mitchell Gray to let him be the face of a luxury condo project. Tyler gets to pretend he's a real estate mogul, and Mitchell gets access to Tyler's followers. It's all image, no substance. Tyler has no actual role in the project beyond promotion. And, Frank prompted. And the project is failing, I said. Mitchell is overextended. The construction is behind schedule. He's running out of money. He's counting on Tyler's social media presence to generate buyer interest. But Tyler's social media presence is finished, Frank said slowly. Exactly, I said. Without Tyler's promotion, the project collapses. And when it collapses, Mitchell is going to blame Tyler. He's going to sue Tyler for breach of contract. Diana's eyes widened. How do you know this? Because I met with Mitchell this morning, I said. I showed him the document we compiled about Tyler. I explained exactly how badly Tyler has been lying, and I suggested that Mitchell might want to distance himself from Tyler immediately. What did he say? Frank asked. He's filing a lawsuit tomorrow, I said. Breach of contract, fraud, misrepresentation. He's suing Tyler for $300,000 in damages. Tyler doesn't have $300,000, Diana said. I know, I said. He'll declare bankruptcy within 6 months. It'll destroy what's left of his credit he'll never recover. Frank let out a low whistle. You're thorough. I learned from the best, I said, nodding at him. We sat in silence for a moment, processing everything. There's one more thing, I said quietly. Tyler needs to understand this wasn't just about the money or the abandonment. This was about respect. He treated us like we were worthless, like we were embarrassments, like our lives didn't matter. I need him to see that we matter, that we're not pathetic old folks, that we're the people who gave him everything and he threw it away. How do you make someone understand that? Diana asked. You show them, I said. One last time, face to face, no tricks, no games, just the truth. When? Frank asked. Soon, I said. First we let him drown a little more, let the lawsuit hit, let reality sink in. Then we have one final conversation. Diana took my hand. And after that? After that, I said, we're done. We walk away and let him live with his choices. Or not live, Frank said quietly. I looked at him sharply. I'm not saying you're pushing him toward anything, Frank clarified, but you need to understand that people in desperate situations do desperate things. If you push him too far— I'm not responsible for his choices, I interrupted. Not anymore. He made his bed. He can lie in it. But even as I said it, I felt a flicker of doubt. Was I going too far? Was I pushing my son toward a breaking point? Then I remembered Diana on that kitchen floor. I remembered her cracked lips and desperate eyes. I remembered Tyler's Facebook post mocking us. The doubt disappeared. Let's finish this, I said. The lawsuit hit Tyler 3 days later. I knew because he called me, sobbing. I didn't answer. He left a voicemail that was almost incoherent. Something about legal papers and Mitchell Gray and $300,000. Something about bankruptcy and his life being over. I deleted the message without listening to the whole thing. Diana and I spent those days monitoring Tyler's social media accounts, even though he'd stopped posting. Other people were posting about him, though. Local news outlets, angry customers, former sponsors putting out statements distancing themselves from him. The story had taken on a life of its own. Tyler Lasker had become a cautionary tale about influencer fraud and the dangers of fake online personas. Business schools were using him as an example. Marketing professors were dissecting his fall from grace. He was famous now, just not the way he'd wanted. On the 4th day after the lawsuit, Frank came by with an update. Tyler's car was repossessed yesterday, he said. He missed 2 payments and the bank pulled the trigger. He and Brittany are basically homeless. They've been staying in cheap motels, moving every couple of days. Where are they getting money? Diana asked. Brittany's parents wired them $1,000, Frank said. Emergency funds. But it won't last long. I felt a faint stirring of something that might have been sympathy. Then I remembered why we were doing this. What about the lawsuit? I asked. Tyler tried to hire a lawyer, but no one will take his case without a retainer he can't afford. He's going to have to represent himself. Mitchell's lawyers are going to tear him apart. Good, I said. Frank looked at me carefully. Ed, I need to ask. How far are you planning to take this? As far as it needs to go. That's not an answer. It's the only answer you're going to get, I said. Frank nodded slowly. Okay, just remember there's a line between justice and cruelty. Make sure you know which side you're on. After Frank left, Diana and I had our first real argument about the situation. Maybe we should ease up, she said. Tyler's lost everything. He's learned his lesson. Has he? I asked. Has he actually learned anything, or is he just scared because he got caught? Does it matter? Diana asked. He's suffering, Ed. Isn't that enough? No, I said, because suffering doesn't equal understanding. He needs to understand why this happened. He needs to understand what he destroyed. And if he never understands? Diana asked quietly. Then at least he'll know we're not the pathetic old folks he thought we were. Diana was quiet for a long moment. Then she nodded. One more confrontation, face to face. We tell him everything, and then we're done. Agreed? Agreed, I said. I sent Tyler a text message that evening. Meet me at 347 Industrial Way tomorrow, 8 p.m. Come alone. He responded immediately. Dad, please, I need help. I'm desperate, please. I typed back, 8 p.m., come alone. This is your last chance. The next day crawled by. Diana and I barely spoke. We were both nervous about what was coming. This was the end game, the final confrontation. Frank had helped me choose the location, an abandoned industrial building on the outskirts of town. It had once been a warehouse, part of the manufacturing district that had collapsed in the 90s. Now it was just a shell, windows broken, walls covered in graffiti, the kind of place where no one would interrupt us. At 7:30, Frank drove Diana and me to the location. We arrived early to set up. The main floor was concrete and empty, lit by the fading evening light through broken windows. It was perfect. You're sure about this? Frank asked one last time. I'm sure, I said. I'll be outside, Frank said. If you need me, just yell. Diana and I waited in the center of the space. I could hear my heartbeat in the silence. After all the planning, all the revenge, it was coming down to this. One final conversation. At 8 p.m. exactly, I heard a car pull up outside. A door slammed. Footsteps on gravel. Tyler appeared in the doorway. He looked terrible. His clothes were wrinkled and dirty. His hair was unkempt. His face was hollow, like he hadn't slept in days. This wasn't the confident influencer from Barcelona. This was a broken man. Dad, he said, his voice hoarse. Mom, thank God. I thought... Be quiet, I said. Tyler's mouth snapped shut. Do you know why you're here? I asked. Tyler shook his head. You're here because I want you to understand something, I said. I want you to understand what you destroyed. Not just your career or your reputation, but us. Your family. I know, Tyler said. I know I messed up. I know I hurt you. But please, I need help. I'm drowning. I've got nothing left. You have exactly what you deserve, Diana said coldly. Tyler looked at her, shock on his face. He'd expected her to be the soft one, the forgiving mother. But Diana's eyes were hard. You left me to suffer, she continued. You knew I was alone. You knew Ed was in the hospital. And you decided a vacation was more important than your mother's life. I didn't think, Tyler started. You never think, I shouted, my voice echoing off the concrete walls. You never think about anyone but yourself. Do you have any idea what it was like to come home and find your mother on that floor? Do you have any idea what it felt like to realize my own son had abandoned her? Tyler was crying now, tears streaming down his face. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Sorry doesn't fix anything, I said. Sorry doesn't undo what you did. Sorry doesn't bring back the trust you destroyed. Then what do you want from me? Tyler yelled. What do I have to do to make this right? Nothing, I said. Because there is no making it right. You can't unsteal our money. You can't unforge my signature. You can't unabandon your mother. It's done. You did it. And now, you live with the consequences. Tyler collapsed to his knees. Please, I have nowhere else to go. No money, no home. Brittany's parents won't help anymore. I'm going to lose everything. You already lost everything, Diana said, the day you decided we weren't worth your time. I walked closer to Tyler, looking down at him. This was my son. The baby I'd held in the hospital, the boy I'd taught to ride a bike, the young man I'd been so proud of when he graduated college. All of that was gone now, replaced by this stranger who valued Instagram likes more than his own mother's life. I want you to remember this moment, I said quietly. I want you to remember what it feels like to lose everything. Because that's what you did to us. You took everything we had, our money, our trust, our love, and you threw it away. For what? For followers? For likes? For a lifestyle you couldn't afford? Tyler couldn't even speak anymore. He just sobbed. You're 34 years old, I continued. You should be building a life. Instead, you've been building a facade. And when that facade crumbled, you came running back to the pathetic old folks begging for help. I didn't mean that, Tyler whispered. The Facebook post. I was drunk. I was stupid. You were honest, I said. That's what you really think of us. That we're pathetic. That we're burdens. That we're in your way. No, Tyler said. No, that's not. It is true, Diana interrupted. And you know what? We're done pretending it's not. We're done making excuses for you. We're done being your safety net. Tyler looked up at us, his face streaked with tears and snot. What am I supposed to do? Figure it out, I said. Get a real job. Live within your means. Stop chasing fame and start building a real life. Or don't. I don't care anymore. You don't care? Tyler asked, disbelief in his voice. No, I said. I don't. You destroyed whatever love I had for you the day you left your mother lying on that floor. Everything I've done since then has been about justice, not love. And now that justice is served, I'm done. I turned and started walking toward the exit. Diana followed. Wait! Tyler screamed. Please, don't leave me here. I need you. I stopped and looked back. No, Tyler. You needed us. Past tense. You needed us when you were stealing our money. You needed us when you were forging my signature. You needed us when you were drowning in debt. But you didn't care then, so why should we care now? Because you're my parents, Tyler shouted. No, Diana said. We were your parents. We're done with that now. We walked out of the building, leaving Tyler alone in that empty warehouse, still on his knees, still crying. Frank was waiting by the truck. How'd it go? It's over, I said. We drove away. I didn't look back. The next 2 weeks were strange. Diana and I went about our normal lives, doctor's appointments, grocery shopping, the occasional dinner out, but everything felt different. Lighter, somehow. Like we'd been carrying a weight for years and finally put it down. Tyler tried to contact us 6 more times, phone calls, text messages, even a letter delivered to our house. We ignored all of them. Frank kept us updated on Tyler's situation, even though we hadn't asked. Tyler had declared bankruptcy. He and Brittany had split up. She'd moved back in with her parents in Nevada. Tyler was living in a studio apartment in the worst part of town, working as a night manager at a convenience store. His social media accounts were gone entirely now, deleted in a desperate attempt to escape the public shame. But the internet never forgets. His name was permanently associated with fraud and abandonment. He's hit rock bottom, Frank said one afternoon, sitting in our living room, and he's staying there, no recovery in sight. Good, Diana said without looking up from her book. Frank looked at me. You okay with all this, Ed? Why wouldn't I be? I asked. Because he's still your son, Frank said. Biology doesn't change just because you want it to. Biology doesn't matter, I said. What matters is choice. And Tyler made his choice. But late at night, when Diana was asleep, I'd lie awake and wonder, had I gone too far? Had I pushed him beyond recovery? Was I responsible for what he'd become? Then, I'd remember Diana on that floor, and the questions would disappear. 3 weeks after our confrontation in the warehouse, Tyler showed up at our door. I saw him through the window before he knocked. He looked different. Not broken anymore, but not fixed either. Just diminished. Smaller somehow. He was wearing cheap clothes and had lost weight. His face was drawn. I considered not answering, but curiosity got the better of me. I opened the door but left the screen door locked between us. "What do you want?" I asked. "I wanted to tell you something," Tyler said. His voice was quiet, steady. "I got a job, a real job, construction. It pays $13 an hour, but it's honest work. I'm also going to community college at night, business management. I'm going to learn how to actually run a business, not just pretend to." I said nothing. "I'm also seeing a therapist," Tyler continued. "Twice a week. She's helping me understand how I ended up here, how I became the person who could leave his mother on the floor and mock his parents online." "Is there a point to this?" I asked. "The point is, you were right," Tyler said. "About everything. I was selfish. I was entitled. I was a fraud. And I hurt the people who loved me most." "Past tense," I said. "Loved. Past tense." Tyler nodded. "I know. I know you don't love me anymore. I know Mom doesn't either, and I understand why. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm not asking to be let back into your lives. I just wanted you to know that I understand what I did. I understand what I lost." "Congratulations," I said flatly. "You figured out what you should have known your whole life. You want a medal?" Tyler flinched, but held his ground. "No, I don't want anything. I just wanted to say I'm sorry, not because I expect it to change anything, but because you deserve to hear it. You deserved better from me. You deserved a son who cared, who checked on you, who didn't steal from you or mock you or abandon you. And I'm sorry I couldn't be that person." He turned to leave, then stopped. "One more thing," he said. "Thank you." That caught me off guard. "For what?" "For destroying my life," Tyler said. "I mean that. If you hadn't exposed me, if you hadn't taken everything away, I would have kept going the same way. I would have kept chasing that illusion until it ruined me or someone else. You saved me by breaking me down." He walked away before I could respond. I stood in the doorway for a long time, watching him disappear down the street. Diana came up behind me. "Did you hear all that?" I asked. "Yes," she said. "What do you think?" "I think he means it," Diana said. "I think he's actually learning something." "Does that change anything?" I asked. Diana was quiet for a moment. "No. It doesn't change what he did. It doesn't erase the past, but maybe it means he won't make the same mistakes again." "With someone else's parents," I said bitterly. "Yes," Diana agreed. "With someone else's parents." We went back inside and closed the door. That night, I had a dream about Tyler as a child. He was 7 years old, standing in our backyard, holding a baseball glove. "Teach me to catch, Dad," he said in the dream. And I did. I showed him how to position his hands, how to watch the ball, how to follow through. And he learned. He was a good student when he wanted to be. I woke up and stared at the ceiling. That child was gone. The man who'd come to our door today was a stranger wearing my son's face, trying to become someone better. But he wasn't my problem anymore. I rolled over and went back to sleep. Another month passed. We heard nothing from Tyler, which was fine by us. Life settled into a routine. Diana's health improved significantly. She'd gained back the weight she'd lost and was volunteering at the local library again, reading to children twice a week. I spent my time working on my old truck, which I'd been meaning to restore for years. It felt good to work with my hands again, to build something instead of tearing something down. Frank came by occasionally to check on us and share news about Tyler. He was still working construction and going to school. He'd moved into a better apartment. He was dating someone new, a woman who worked at the college. A teacher, apparently. Someone stable. He's rebuilding, Frank said one afternoon. Slowly, but he's doing it right this time. Good for him, I said, not looking up from the engine I was working on. You don't care at all? Frank asked. I care that he's not going to hurt anyone else the way he hurt us, I said. Beyond that, his life is his own problem. Frank left, shaking his head. That evening, Diana and I were watching television when the doorbell rang. I opened it to find a woman in her early 30s standing on our porch. She was pretty, with dark hair and intelligent eyes. She looked nervous. Mr. Lasker? She asked. I'm Amanda. I'm dating Tyler. I almost closed the door, but something in her expression stopped me. She wasn't here to plead Tyler's case. She looked like she needed to say something. What do you want? I asked. I wanted to meet you, she said. Tyler told me what he did, all of it. How he abandoned his mother, stole from you, mocked you online. He told me about the revenge, about how you destroyed his life, and I wanted to meet the man who could do that to his own son. You want to tell me I went too far? I said. No, Amanda said, surprising me. I want to thank you. I stared at her. The man I met 3 months ago was a shell, she continued. He was broken and desperate and barely human. But underneath all that, there was someone worth saving. Someone who was finally ready to face what he'd done and change. And that only happened because you refused to let him keep running. I didn't do it for him, I said. I know, Amanda said. You did it for you and your wife, for justice. But it saved him anyway. He's a different person now. He's responsible. He's honest. He's learning to care about people besides himself. That wouldn't have happened if you'd just forgiven him and let him keep living the same way. Diana had come to the door behind me. You're giving us credit for his growth, she said. But we destroyed him. We took everything from him. Sometimes people need to be destroyed before they can be rebuilt, Amanda said. Tyler needed to lose everything to understand what really mattered. I'm not saying what he did wasn't horrible. It was. But what you did in response forced him to confront himself. We're not therapists, I said. We were just angry parents getting revenge. Maybe, Amanda said, but the result is the same. Tyler is becoming a decent person, maybe for the first time in his life. Why are you telling us this? Diana asked. Amanda hesitated. Because I'm falling in love with him. And I wanted you to know that the man I love exists because of what you did. I'll probably never meet you again after tonight. Tyler wouldn't want me to come here without his knowledge, but I needed you to know that something good came from all that pain. She turned and walked back to her car, leaving us standing in the doorway. Diana and I looked at each other. Huh, I said. Huh, Diana agreed. We went back inside and didn't talk about it. What was there to say? Tyler's redemption, if that's what it was, wasn't our concern. We'd gotten our revenge. We'd made him understand what he'd done. What he did with that understanding was up to him. But that night, I slept better than I had in months. 2 weeks later, we received a letter in the mail. No return address. Inside was a check for $15,000 and a note written in Tyler's handwriting. This is the money I stole from you. It took me 4 months to save it, working construction and living on almost nothing. It doesn't make us even. Nothing can make us even. But it's a start. I don't expect anything in return. I don't expect forgiveness. I just wanted to pay back what I took. Tyler. I stared at the check for a long time. $15,000. It represented 4 months of brutal work, of living in poverty, of sacrificing everything to make things right. Diana looked over my shoulder. What do you want to do? I don't know, I admitted. We sat with the question for days. The check sat on our kitchen counter, untouched. Cash it and accept Tyler's attempt at restitution? Tear it up and maintain our distance? Something else? Finally, Diana made the decision. We cash it, she said. Not because we forgive him, not because we're letting him back into our lives, but because he earned it. He worked for that money honestly. He saved it and sent it to us. That matters. Does it change anything? I asked. No, Diana said firmly. It doesn't change what he did. It doesn't erase the past, but it means he's taking responsibility. That's more than most people do. We cashed the check. I didn't send a thank you note or acknowledgement. The money appeared in our account and that was the end of it. But something had shifted. I couldn't name it exactly. It wasn't forgiveness. It wasn't reconciliation. It was just closure, maybe. The understanding that we'd done what we set out to do. We'd made Tyler understand the consequences of his actions, and somehow, against all odds, he'd chosen to become better instead of worse. That was more than I'd expected, more than I'd hoped for. 6 months after our confrontation in the warehouse, Frank retired from private investigation. He came by to say goodbye before he moved to Florida to be near his grandchildren. "You did a hell of a thing, Ed," he said as we sat on my porch. "Not many people would have the guts to destroy their own kid like that." "It wasn't about guts," I said. "It was about justice." "Justice," Frank repeated. "That's one word for it. Revenge is another." "What's the difference?" I asked. Frank thought about it. "Justice is about restoring balance. Revenge is about inflicting pain. What you did was somewhere in between." "Did I go too far?" I asked. It was a question I'd been asking myself for months. Frank took a long drink of his beer. "You want an honest answer?" "Yes." "I don't know," Frank said. "I really don't. What Tyler did was terrible. He deserved consequences. But you didn't just give him consequences. You orchestrated his complete destruction. You took everything from him, burned his life to the ground, and then watched him crawl through the ashes." "He's rebuilding," I said. "He is," Frank agreed, "and maybe that's proof you did the right thing. Maybe he needed to be broken completely before he could become something better. Or maybe he's rebuilding in spite of what you did, not because of it. I don't know." We sat in silence for a while. "Do you regret it?" Frank asked. "No," I said. "I don't regret making him face what he'd done. I don't regret exposing him. I don't regret any of it." "Even though he's trying to be better now?" "Even though," I said, "because if I hadn't done what I did, he'd still be out there scamming people and abandoning anyone who needed him. Better that he learned the hard way." Frank nodded slowly. "I hope you're right, Ed. I really do." After Frank left, I sat on the porch alone, thinking about the past months. Thinking about Tyler as a child, as a teenager, as the man who had abandoned his mother when she needed him most. Thinking about the look on his face in that warehouse when he realized we were done with him. I didn't feel guilty. I didn't feel proud either. I just felt finished. Diana came out and sat beside me. She'd been reading in the living room. "Frank said goodbye?" she asked. "Yeah. He's a good friend. The best," I agreed. We sat together, watching the sun set. 43 years of marriage, 43 years of ups and downs, joys and sorrows. We'd raised a son together, and we'd destroyed him together. "Do you think Tyler will be okay?" Diana asked quietly. "I don't know," I said, "and I'm not sure I care." "Liar," Diana said gently. I looked at her. "What?" "You care," she said. "You wouldn't ask yourself if you went too far if you didn't care. You wouldn't think about him late at night if you didn't care. You wouldn't have kept that note he sent with the check if you didn't care." "I threw that note away," I said. "You threw it in your desk drawer," Diana corrected. "I saw it there last week." I had nothing to say to that. "It's okay to care about him and still be done with him," Diana said. "Those things aren't mutually exclusive. We can want him to be okay while still refusing to be part of his life." "Can we?" I asked. "We'll find out," Diana said. That night, I took the note out of my desk drawer and read it again. Tyler's handwriting was sloppy, rushed, but the words were clear. This is the money I stole from you. It took me 4 months to save it, working construction and living on almost nothing. It doesn't make us even. Nothing can make us even. But it's a start. I don't expect anything in return. I don't expect forgiveness. I just wanted to pay back what I took. Tyler. I read it 3 times, then put it back in the drawer. The next morning, I woke up to find Diana making breakfast. It was Saturday, our normal routine. Eggs and toast, coffee, the newspaper. Simple pleasures. I've been thinking, Diana said as we ate. About moving, she said. Maybe Arizona or New Mexico. Somewhere warm. Somewhere we can start fresh. Running away? I asked. Closing a chapter, Diana corrected. We spent our whole lives in this town. We raised Tyler here. We built our lives here. But it's time for something new. Don't you think? I looked around our kitchen. 40 years of memories in this house. Tyler's height marks on the door frame. The scratch on the floor from when he drove his toy truck too hard. The window he broke with a baseball at age 10. Yes, I said. I think it's time. We spent the next 6 months preparing to move. Selling the house, downsizing our possessions, researching places to live. It felt good to have a project, something to focus on besides the past. Tyler found out we were moving. I don't know how. Maybe Amanda told him, or maybe he just drove by and saw the for sale sign. He sent a text message. I heard you're leaving. I hope you find peace wherever you go. Thank you for everything. Even the hard parts. Especially the hard parts. I didn't respond. On our last day in town, Diana and I drove past Tyler's apartment. We didn't plan to. It just happened to be on the way to the storage unit. I slowed down as we passed. Tyler was outside, working on an old car. He looked healthy, strong. He was laughing with someone, another guy helping him with the engine. He looked happy. Should we stop? Diana asked. No, I said. I drove on. We moved to New Mexico, a small town outside Santa Fe. We bought a modest house with a view of the mountains. Diana joined a book club. I started volunteering at a community center, teaching basic electrical work to kids who wanted to learn a trade. Life was simple, quiet, good. We didn't hear from Tyler for a year. Then, out of nowhere, we received a wedding invitation in the mail. Tyler and Amanda, June 15th, Santa Fe. He must have tracked down our new address, Diana said, looking at the invitation. Are we going? I asked. Diana thought about it for a long time. I don't know. Do you want to? I don't know either, I admitted. We let the invitation sit on our counter for 3 weeks, unopened RSVP card beside it. The wedding was in 6 weeks. We needed to decide. Finally, Diana made the choice. We're not going, she said. We've moved on. We've built a new life. Going to his wedding would be stepping backward. Okay, I said. I felt relieved. We didn't RSVP. We just let the date pass. On June 15th, Diana and I went hiking in the mountains. We packed a lunch and spent the day walking trails, enjoying the silence and the view. We didn't talk about Tyler. We didn't talk about the wedding. We just existed, 2 people who'd been through hell together and come out the other side. That evening, as we watched the sunset from our back porch, my phone buzzed. A text message from an unknown number. I almost deleted it without reading, but curiosity won. It was a photo. Tyler and Amanda at their wedding, standing together, smiling. They looked genuinely happy. Beneath the photo, a message. Thank you for not coming. I know it sounds strange, but having you there would have felt like I hadn't really moved on. I needed to do this without you watching, but I wanted you to see that I'm okay, that I'm happy, that I found someone who sees who I am now, not who I was. I hope you're happy too. I hope you found peace. You deserved it more than anyone. Tyler. I showed the message to Diana. She looked at it for a long time, then handed the phone back to me. "Delete it," she said. "Are you sure?" "I'm sure," she said. "We're done with that chapter of our lives. Tyler is okay, he's happy, that's good. But he's not our son anymore. He's just someone we used to know." I deleted the message. We sat together as darkness fell, watching the stars come out one by one. "Do you ever regret it?" Diana asked. "Everything we did?" "No," I said without hesitation. "Do you?" "No," she said. "Tyler needed to learn that actions have consequences. We taught him that lesson. What he did with it was up to him." "He seems to have figured it out," I said. "Good," Diana said. "That's more than we expected." We went inside and made dinner together. We ate and watched a movie and went to bed. Normal life. Simple life. Good life. I didn't think about Tyler anymore that night. I didn't think about the revenge, the destruction, the confrontation in the warehouse. I didn't think about the past at all. I thought about tomorrow, about the electrical class I was teaching at the community center, about the hiking trip Diana and I had planned for next weekend, about the book she'd been telling me to read. The past was done. We'd gotten our justice. Tyler had learned his lesson and rebuilt his life. The story was over.